and I do OF for a living.
You got like 1 million followers or something?
2 million.
Damn. You look like the type of girl that only dates like rich guys. Is that true?
No, that's not true. I only date black guys. Especially black guys. Especially black guys. Let me clarify. I only date rich black guys.
Rich black guys. There we go. And so you know you're toxic.
Yeah.
You can tell she like black guys. It's like, especially black guys. For all you watching, I'm with it. Do you like to be fully controlled, or do you?
I like to be submissive. Yeah, in the bedroom. Yes. But like in my life, I don't like anybody to tell me what to do.
Yeah, so you only want them to tell you what to do in the bedroom. Other than that, you don't want them to tell you anything.
Right. That's exactly it. Yes.
Hello and welcome to another day in paradise, and welcome to another edition of the Unapologetic Negropian. In today's video, last Sunday, the 3rd of April 2022, a young man by the name of Toby Obumseli was found critically injured outside an apartment building in downtown Miami. He was taken by the emergency services to the hospital, where he later succumbed to his injuries. Obumseli was a young man, 27 years old, of Nigerian descent. He had done very well in his life, and at the time his girlfriend was seen as somebody who also needed help. That was until the police realized that his girlfriend was more than likely the person who committed the crime. Now, she wasn't charged, but she was bakerized, which means that she was taken in under the Mental Health Care Act, which means that no one is even allowed to say her name. We will say her name on this channel though. Her name is Courtney Tailor, a 23-year-old IG model who boasts some 2 million followers. A lot of people know this young lady. She is middle class, Texan, white, beautiful, and she was a massive star on fans. So she was doing quite well for herself. So that is where we are at right now. Is that the end of the story? Of course not. There's been a massive falling out, and a lot of people have already started to give their opinions on this matter. Here we have this middle class, young, blonde, American European woman who wasn't even charged straight away, even though the police knew it was more than likely her that committed that crime. She was clearly shaken when they found her in the apartment, and there had been more than several calls made about domestic disputes at their apartment. I made a video before about the case of Lauren Smith Fields and her untimely passing when she went on a date with a man by the name of Matthew LaFountain. Now, I made a video and I named the video Should We Care? We're going to name this video the same thing. Should we care about Toby Obumseli? We need to ask this question because it has come out that this man was a hard divestor. I think I made a video about this before. You know, I'm a person who has dated outside of his race, and I can tell you this, I don't have a preference, but this man had a preference, and I think there is a distinct difference with that. Okay, I've been chastised because I don't have a preference. You know, I've had people come up to me and say, well, you just, you know, anybody? Yeah, okay. You know, if you're a good person, if you are well educated, if you are beautiful, of course I'll give you a chance. Of course, you know, not anymore, you know, taken now. I'm just saying, under those present circumstances, when I was single, that is the way I looked at things. I didn't really hold back because, you know, that a person had to be of a certain skin tone. The person, it didn't matter, you know. There's beauty in everyone. That's where I see it. These guys make a point because at the end of the day, there are certain classes of women from certain backgrounds. I'm going to be very careful with my words here. And these particular types of women who go for particular types of men tend to be a particular type of person. Do you understand? In today's video, I'm going to tell you about my story. I dated an IG model some 9 years ago now, and I can tell you that it was probably one of the worst experiences of my life. Definitely one of the worst dating experiences of my life, and I'm going to share that with you because there's lots of parallels with this particular incident. I'm calling it an incident at this moment because, guys, I don't want to be demonetized and I don't want the algorithms to shut me down, okay? I'm also going to ask a few questions. Why did it happen? What can we learn? And should we care? Well, that's what I'm going to try and answer in today's video. First, I'm going to ask you to please like, subscribe, share, click the bell notification, and please consider supporting the channel on our Patreon, link in the description. I'd also like to invite you to please follow the Oversight channel, the channel that is there to help you to invest on the African continent, both safely and securely, link also in the description. So where do we start? So guys, I think it's first important that we learn a little bit more about this Christian Toby Obumsemi's preferences. I watched a channel called Milan. I don't know why she keeps coming up on my timeline. Really, she just comes up. And I don't know whether it's because we search for the same things, but she keeps popping up. I don't follow her, clearly. She's one of those hard divestors and proud of it, you know what I mean? But so she keeps coming up anyway, and her last video was about this Courtney Tailor and Christian Toby Obumsemi situation. So I took a listen to what she had to say.
But one thing I can say about Christian or Toby or whatever is that he liked these type of women. He had a proclivity to be attracted to white women. He was very vocal about that even in his adolescence, but even as an adult, this is a person that proudly boasted his love for white women. And I went through some of his tweets and I thought it was ironic that none of the Black blogs were posting about this. The ones who did report on this, obviously not all of them. But here's some of his tweets. He says here, when the beautiful white girls, hashtag at Plano East, wear yoga and tights. Then goes on to say, want a white girl, hashtag help. Mixed girls, I believe white women can cook, okay? Now, he also goes on to say here, Alex has me thinking about how much I want mixed babies in ish, shaking my head, LOL. I feel like only yellow bone girls can pull off nose rings. Now, I'm sure some of you guys are going to say things like, what does this have to do with Black women? Can he have a preference? Why do you care who he dates? Well, surely you can like whoever you like. You can be attracted to whoever you want to be attracted to. You can date whoever you want to. You can marry whoever you want to. But he ended up crossing the line from what I saw with the tweets, especially towards Black women, where he started to display vitriolic based tweets, misogynist rooted tweets, in my opinion, and you'll see that here. So he didn't just keep it at the white women. Then he would talk about Black women. So he said here, full of ignorant Black women. Black girls aren't the only ones who can cook in the world. And there was another tweet that he had about white women. He was like, white girls can cook too. So he was constantly trying to compare Black women to white women. He also says here, once again, I'm tired of these Black girls in my government class. He also says the way Black girls disgrace themselves on TV. It does not stop there. He also says here, one of my friends, Black girls are born knowing how to shake they A. Me, honestly, I don't care. They not my type.
So there you have it. Some pretty clear proof that this man was an out and out divestor, that he had a strong preference for a particular type of woman. This guy was a colorist. He was somebody who really did care about the skin tone of a woman and everything else that is shallow and things that really you should be putting last. Although we as young men, we tend not to. I can remember when I was 27 years old and I can remember what I was doing. The last thing that I cared about when I met a woman was whether she was reading the right books. The last thing I cared about was whether she knew, you know, how many planets were in our solar system. I didn't care about that stuff. I care about, you know, the ride. That's what I primarily was focused on. Can she ride a bike? You know what I'm talking about, don't you? So, guys, I was 27 years old. I can easily say, oh, I was 27 years old. That's the way 27-year-olds think. Things have changed, guys. We know now through social media that things aren't always as they seem. I can take a look at this woman's picture and I can appreciate her, but I was going through her Instagram and I knew I would have appreciated her when I was 27 years old, but I could not go through her entire Instagram. It was boring. It bored the life out of me. I cannot understand that we as a people give so much energy when it comes to the aesthetics of a human and not what's in a person's mind. Anyway, guys, I don't want to even go down that street. Not now anyway. I want to talk a little bit more about this Paris-Milan live. Okay, so there is demonstrable proof that he is that way. I even went on his Twitter myself and I found this tweet from him, which is pretty telling, okay? Okay, you could always say that it's fun and jokes, but I didn't find it funny. I don't find that jokes like this funny. I find them not even offensive, but just stupid. Now, Paris-Milan went on to talk about how this Lawrence Smith-Fields case had some parity with this case, but I don't see these two things as being the same. I think that these two cases are very different. There is demonstrable proof that men of European descent historically have been a certain way. We know this and we've seen this for ourselves. We see it almost every single day. If you are from a colonialized country like I am, I'm from Jamaica, then you would know how they are. If you're South African, then you'll definitely know. I don't even have to try and persuade you about this, do I? So when you have this, you will find men of European descent who will date women of African descent. And they will date women of African descent because they are. You will get men like that who will do that. Now, why do they do that? It's because they feel like they have conquered something. It gives them a boost. It's really pathetic, but that's the fragility that we are talking about when it comes to ego. And we have a name for this. It's called Trojan narcissism, right? I'm calling it narcissism because, you know, YouTube. It's when somebody acts as if they are a certain way, but really deep down inside, they have other insidious motives to the reason why they are dating outside of their race. These cases are different because what is the chances of having a small, petite, well-heeled model? What is the chances of having that woman do what she did to an athletic, tall, intelligent man like Toby Obumseli? The police were probably wondering the same thing. They knew that she did it, but they also knew that they could get away with not charging her for his red rum. So they knew that they could get away without charging her for the red rum. How? By bakerizing her, by taking her in under the Mental Health Act, which means that nobody was able to talk about her name, not in the media. Well, social media goes by. We know what the police are like when it comes to black men. They've already started talking about how there was many calls made against him, made against Toby himself about domestic disputes. Okay, why would you even bring that up for? Why would you bring that up for? You're a police officer. Yeah, it's okay. You know, let's have a talk about this. Yeah, we knew that there had been many calls made against Toby from Courtney Tailor. Okay, so yeah, we knew that there were domestic disputes. You got to listen to those words. Why would you say that for? Why does it matter? Do your job. Do your job properly. Nobody's asking you for your opinion. Okay, so there aren't many women who have been in that situation. So you need to look at the time of night that it happened. It happened really late at night. And so people have made assumptions, and they can only make assumptions. And the assumption that they have made is that this woman had a mental breakdown. Oh, they always have mental breakdowns, don't they? It just gets rid of all the responsibilities that you had as a person to be a good person and to not plunge a into another man's chest. They also get to keep her name out of the press. Do you think that let's say a woman of African origin would have gotten the same treatment that Courtney Tailor did? Do we even have to ask this question? We don't, do we? I have listened to Lee Merritt, who is a social lawyer and advocate, social justice advocate. He has been looking at the situation, and he may get involved in the situation because we know what's going to happen. We know that there is a strong chance that this woman could be walking the streets again in 5 years. It could actually happen. And that's if she gets off on the R charge because of her mental state. I'm going to tell you what I think happened. I think that this gentleman was asleep when it happened, when she went at him. I think he was asleep already. And I think that's the reason why she was able to do to him what she had done to him. She was also a bikini model, and it looked like she had taken some sort of athletic enhancing supplement, which probably means that she was a little on testosterone at that time, as well as she does compete and she does need to keep her body in good working order for her only. It does make sense. It makes perfect sense, because I've been with a woman who would have done that same thing to me. I've been with a woman like that many, many years ago, and what can I say? This is a woman who would do that to me, knowingly, willingly. She was blonde, she was pretty, she was in Instagram, she was just like this woman, and I promise you, she has changed my life forever. So guys, what kind of advice can I give to you? Listen, especially to my African brothers and sisters, not so much to the African American guys over there, you probably know how it goes. To my African brothers and sisters, the continental. If you're going over there, you know, you're Nigerian, you're good looking, you got a bit of money, you know, you are athletic, you are going to play sports, and you're going to attract women like this. I don't know what it is, but they just love men like you. It needs to be said that you need to be ultra careful when it comes to these types of women. Why? Because a lot of them do have problems. Over 70% of women who work in businesses that involve their looks, have some form of mental debilitation. 70%, which means if you find a beautiful model, it's more than likely she's going to have some form of problem. So that's one thing. Listen, guys, you know me. I'm not married to somebody of my own race, but I can tell you now, due to hear this coming from me, guys, stay with your own. Stick with your own kind. Literally, that's what I gotta say this, because when it comes to women like this, they can be ultra dangerous, really, to you, to your life, to your future. There are women out there who have no other thoughts other than to destroy you. Believe me when I tell you this, that's all they want to do. There are some people out there who've been brought up in a certain way, who are just so insidious in their way. You cannot trust them. They are going to be a problem no matter what. They will never change. Don't bother think you can find a woman and change them. That is not going to happen. They are who they are, and it's going to stay that way for the rest of their lives. And you do not want that problem. And you also don't want to be in the same situation as Christian Toby Obumsemi. Until the next time, please think twice. Torah a bit.